So today we got a little project. We're going to attempt to fix these nasty, cloudy, hazy headlights in my wife's car. Get a good look at what they look like now. I got this kit. It's by 3M. Headlight restoration system. Comes with an attachment with Velcro on it. Whoops. For your drill chuck. Comes with a series of papers and a final polishing pad with compound. It starts off at 500 grit. It goes all the way to 3000 is the finest one, and that's like a padded piece. So, got the old drill right there. I'll go through and I'll update you now and then and see how things are going. But here's the instructions. But I think you get the gist of it. So we went through two circles of the 500, and I mean, she looks still pretty dull, but at least a lot of that discoloring is gone. You know, you got to be careful. Sometimes it'll melt on the corners here, and you have to sand that off too. But I suppose if you wet it a little and see what it's going to be like afterwards. That's after 500. What's next? 800 is next. Let's do a little bit more with the 500 since we got, I don't know if we're supposed to use up half of them per side. Huh?
Your coffee feels bitter.
Tastes bitter? It's because it's black.
Oh, makes sense.
No sugar. No cream. We'll do a little bit more. I mean, I got this. That looks burnt to me, so I don't think that's going to come out. It looks like it's on the inside. You can kind of see it's got like micro cracks in it. I don't think that's coming out. But I think the top layer that was so oxidized that you can still see over here, you can see the coloring differences where it's oxidized. That's what we're trying to get through. Trying to get it to look like that. Let's keep going. Kristen thinks she's got the hang of it now. Hopefully. Whatever's comfortable. Just try not to block these air vents so the motor doesn't overheat. First pro tip, which I'm not a pro, cover up your chrome. Hers is all pitted and nasty anyway, so it wasn't, you know, too big a deal. This is an old car, but if you got a better looking car, this one's got dings and dents and scratches and kid remnants on it. Do yourself a favor, protect your chrome. What we're doing now is wetting a rag to see where we're at. It's all dusty on there. The problem I'm noticing is on the edges, like the corners of the lens. If you don't change your little circle pad right there, we're on the 800. If you don't change it enough, it like melts a little bit of the acrylic. You get this. I think it'll come off if I change the pad. We're gonna try it. This is where we're at with the 800. You can see how the little It's the same thing. So when it starts to leave these black blotches everywhere, that's little pieces of your acrylic lens coming off and melting under the pad's friction. Maybe you want to change it at that point. See, it's even on the chrome. Right. Got a new 800 on there. I'm just going to see if I can get this black stuff off, and we'll use the 800 on the other side as well. Let's see.
Perfect.
And that's the trick. Oh, I accidentally spilled some water on this side while I was sanding, or couldn't get it dry enough in time, so I figured, let's see what happens. Seems wet sanding is pretty good too. We haven't even got to the polishing part yet. But I can already tell you, even though when it dries it gets a little hazy, I can see a huge, huge difference. Like that. This side's drier. But even still, you remember the before pictures. Like I said, we haven't even got to the polishing part yet. Wow. Okay. We're going to keep on with the 800 and a somewhat of a wet sand. Do a little bit more on this side too. This step, they look a lot better, even though they're hazy. They haven't been polished. They still look a lot better. And in this part of the instructions, it tells you to use a tack cloth to get rid of some of the fine dusts. And I had coffee, so I'm shaky. But this is my tack cloth. I hope this works. This stage in the instructions, it tells you to go ahead and switch to the 3000 grit. Excuse me. In the instructions, this is the only step it tells you to wet the pad. You can see it's got like a sponge layer in it. Did I damage anything or do it wrong by wetting it when I was on the 800? I don't know. I think it looks pretty good either way. But they tell you to use a wet pad to wet this when you're doing the 3000 grit. Now 3000 grit is pretty smooth. I don't know if you can see the shiny reflection. I can in my bare eyes, but I don't think you can on, well, there it goes. You can kind of see the shiny right there. So let's get to this part and see what happens. We'll wet it too. So I dipped it in the cup of water. So I've gone back and forth over it, up and down, side to side, diagonal, randomly, circularly, squarely, and I see a huge, huge difference. I mean, I'm sure it'll be much better at the polishing phase, but this looks 100 times better than what it was. I noticed that that burn, that overheated area, you can see the lens in there has actually got a hole in it, so that must have been either the wrong bulb at one point, got too hot, or something. But can't get rid of that. That's on the other side or embedded in it. But look at that so far. See how it makes kind of like a slurry, makes its own polishing compound as you, as the water collects all the particles of acrylic. Let's see what that looks like compared to the other side that didn't get any 3000 yet. Totally hazy. What a difference. Okay, carry on. Right, so at this stage of the game, the lenses are looking pretty good. We just have to polish them now. And the kit comes with a buffing pad. You see here this orange egg crate looking pad. and where'd it go? Polishing compound. You could probably get most of this stuff at an auto body shop or an auto parts store and make your own work, you know what I mean, with something like this, and buying polishing compound and all the different grits of paper. But this little convenient kit comes with just the right sizes and amounts for what you need. They say you can get about 2 vehicles out of one kit, but we'll see how that goes. Hers were pretty bad. So we're going to put a dime size amount on this pad here, and then we're going to smear it on the lens first without running the drill, and then go into it. They say that too much compound will create splatter and make extra cleanup. You don't want to use too much because then you're just wasting it. So, and there's quite a bit in here. Let's go into that part and see what happens. Here's a pro tip. First of all, to take advice from someone calling it a pro tip, you must believe they are a pro. I am not a pro. However, nonetheless, here's a pro tip from my experiences with polishing paint jobs and compounds and stuff like that. Put what you want, put it on the lens like that, and literally spread it around like butter, you know? And that's gonna put it where you need it when you need it. Okay, just like this. Most of what I'm concerned with is this lens part anyway. This part up here, yes and yes, but this part's most important. Whoops. You have to clean up afterwards anyway, but they don't tell you this in the instructions, but like most guys, or even most people that DIY, doesn't matter what the instructions say. You read them if you have no idea what you're doing, or if you screw it up and need to figure out what you did wrong. All right, this side's next. So I'm thinking we're done. Man, what a difference. That's pretty impressive. Now there's some blemishes, but I don't think that's the kit's fault. I think that's operator error. Some of it you can see it's behind here on that chrome plated plastic, like that. But some other stuff is still in the plastic. I don't know if you can really see it here, but right in here there's still a yellow spot. I'm not too worried about it. The instructions say if this happens, just to back up to step 10, which brings you back to the 800 grit, and you redo that with the 800, so you get a little bit more surface off the top. But that could be on the other side too. It's hard to tell. Obviously, I didn't tape up my trim or my body panel. You can see a little spot right there where I think the 500 cut right through the paint. But other than that, from before to after, pretty impressive. This side actually came out better. Good job, Austin. All right, nothing left but to clean up. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope this helped you out. Doesn't have to be a 3M kit, but it only cost me 20 bucks for my mechanic. Might be costing you 30 or 35 because my mechanic is my brother. But they're out there. They're not hard to find. You can probably find one real cheap online. So have at it. Clean your own headlights.